In the previous video we looked at Ruby arrays. This time we're going to look at another important data structure in Ruby called a hash. If you come from another programming language, you may recognize the hash by other names such as the dictionary, associative array, or JavaScript objects. So hashes is a data structure of key value pairs. So we have a key that maps to a certain value. And to get started, let's just jump at an example. What I'm going to do is I'm going to open IRB. So the previous video we know that we can create an array like this with square brackets. To create a hash, it's similar, except you use curly braces. So this will create an empty hash, and I call it hash. Now, let's say I want to keep track of some sort of to-do list. So for each day of the week, I want to have something to do, and I can use a hash to hold that information for me. So the way I'm going to do it, and I'm going to call the hash a to-do, and I'm going to initialize it to an empty hash. Okay, now to associate a key with a value and put that in a hash, all you have to do is refer to the hash name, which in this case to do, put square brackets, and then I'm going to pass the symbol as the key. For example, Monday, I am going to clean the dishes. So what's happening here is I have the to do hash, so I'm associating the key Monday with the value clean the dishes, which is a string in this case. Now Monday is a symbol, so you might not already know what a symbol is, but it's not really a string, but it's very similar. So in Ruby it's preferable that you use a symbol as the key to a hash instead of just using a string, though you can use a string just fine. It just will make things a little faster if you use the symbol. And if you want to understand why that is, you should do a Google search. This video will be mostly talking about hashes and not symbols. Okay, so when I do that and I take a look at the to-do list, there it is. We have a key, which is Monday, as a symbol, associated with a value, which is a string called clean the dishes. And there's this rocket sign, which means there's an association between this key and its value here. And it's a hash because there's braces. Now we can keep on adding stuff to it. For example, say on Wednesday I want to put the to-do karate practice. Now let's look at the to-do hash. So I have a new key value pair here, and that is a key Wednesday that maps to the value karate practice. So now we have two key value pairs in this hash. So there is a method to get the number of key value pairs in the hash. You can use .size, and it says, oh, there's two key value pairs in the hash to do. So that's one way of getting the size of the hash. Now, since I talked before that you can also use a string for the key, I'm gonna do just that so you know it's okay too. Let's say Friday. What am I gonna do on Friday? Let's say something like that. Let's check to do. Now we have a new key value pair. You notice that the key here is a string, and because I did a string instead of a symbol, so it's still okay. In fact, you can have any kind of object type for the keys and the values. You could even use numbers, which in turn would be just like you were using an array if you did something like this. For example, to do on to to do. See, now I have a key with the integer 2 mapping to I don't know. So it's pretty arbitrary, but you can, the best practice is to always use symbols, and it's okay to use strings, but try to use symbols as much as possible. And if you just use numbers, might as well just use a plain array, except if you have some sort of mixed structure to your things. Anyway, let's keep on going. Oops. Now we have all this stuff right now. Let's talk about creating a hash with already initial values. In this case, what we did was create an empty hash and then populate it with key value pairs. But what if I want to create a hash with already predefined key value pairs? So the way we can do that, let's just exit here. There's nothing in hash. Clear. Is we can say, for example, to do equals, instead of doing this and add key value pairs one by one, I can just go here inside the braces and just put my key value pairs there. For example, Monday as a symbol, and I put the rocket to indicate there's a relationship. Clean the dishes. And then for any other key value pair, just separate with comma. Comma, Wednesday, rocket, ready, practice. Now let's do that. See what we get. See, we got a hash. Monday as a symbol is a key that maps to the value clean the dishes, which is a string. Wednesday as a symbol, which is the key that maps to the value karate practice, a string. Now, if you want to access each of these, you can do to do. For example, I want to see what I have to do on Monday. I can say to do, open brackets, put the key there, and that will give me the value associated with that key. The same for Wednesday. Now, what happens if I try to access something that does not exist? You get nil in this case. Okay. Just keep in mind that if there was some default value already associated with the hash at the moment you created it, you could have changed the default value when you refer to something that does not exist. But that's for later. Just understand that if there's a key that does not exist, by default it returns nil. Okay, so what if I want to change what I want to do on Monday? I don't want to clean the dishes anymore. I want to do something else. What I can do is just do to do Monday, and what I'm going to do is going to reassign that. I'm going to put an equals that and do the laundry instead. Now let's check the to do hash. Indeed, like on Monday, I changed the value to do the laundry. So you can access using bracket notation, pass the key. You can also set it or reset it using brackets and the assignment operator with the value on the right hand side. And you can add more to-dos just by referring to the new key. If that does not exist, we'll create it, otherwise it will replace the value like we did in this line. So let's create a new one on Friday. Let's say instead I want to clean the dishes on Friday now. And there it is, there's a Friday key that maps the value clean the dishes. And this hash has 3 key value pairs. Okay. Now you can also check in the hash if it has a certain key or a certain value with this methods like these. To do dot has key, and then you say, for example, has key Monday. It says it's true because you have the key Monday. What if I say Tuesday? I don't have the key Tuesday, so it's false. You can also check for values as value. say do the laundry. I obviously have it, but say wash the car. I don't have wash the car. Okay, now there's a topic I'd like to touch, and that is some alternative notation for a hash. So something that came later in Ruby, later versions, it's a notation that's very similar to, for example, JavaScript object notation or JavaScript objects. And so let's backtrack to how we created a hash giving initial values like this, right? Now there's another notation. If you have the key as a symbol, you can drop the rocket, take the colon and put it on the right hand side like this. So drop the rocket, take the colon, put it on the right hand side. That's an alternative notation for hashes. It's the same thing as this, but keep in mind that the key has to be a symbol for this to work. So what you're doing here, you're saying Monday as a symbol is mapping to this value. Okay, so remember that, and that will create a hash the same way. Here it is. You see this very often. I prefer to use this notation instead of the rocket because it seems much more intuitive and it's similar to JavaScript notation. But keep in mind, it's just a hash, and it actually means this, a symbol that is being mapped to a key, to a value. Symbol as a key mapped to a value. And this is the original notation, and that's how it appears in Ruby. This is kind of like syntax sugar, something that was added later to make things look a little nicer, especially for people who did JavaScript and other kind of languages, because it reads much nicer. Just put a colon there, but this has to be a symbol. The key has to be a symbol. Alright, you see that a lot. And just another thing is, let's say let's go here to, so let's just wrap up with talking about hashes as the argument to methods, and then talk about fetch versus the bracket notation. So say I have a method like I don't know, do something, and I take some arguments, say like say name, and then the last argument is a hash. Let's just say hello, and then interpolate the name. So bang, exclamation. I'm gonna pass an empty hash right now. Let's see what we get. So exit IRB, run a program. It just says this, right? Because I'm calling to something. First argument is the name. Second is just an empty hash, but I'm only using the first argument, and I'm just saying hello and the name, which was the argument. Okay. Now let's say I pass a hash here. I say Monday, clean the dishes, something like that. And then let's say here, it seems that you have to, and then I'm gonna pass hash on Monday. So I'm gonna say this message hello and the name, and it seems you have to, and then it's gonna get the value of whatever Monday the key is pointing to the hash, which is going to point to clean the dishes. It's going to say, it seems that you have to clean the dishes, and then I put it on Monday here. Let's run it. It seems that I have to clean the dishes on Monday. So this was the value that we got from the hash that was passed as an argument to the method. So here I'm passing a hash, key Monday, value clean the dishes, and what I'm doing is inside the function, this hash, which has this guy right here, I am using the value to which the key Monday points to, which is this. Okay, now I want to get to the main point here. So if you have a hash, you calling a method, you have a hash as the last argument, you can drop the braces like this, so it'll be totally fine. Still runs. So you see this a lot. People will just omit the braces because the hash is the last argument of the method call. Furthermore, you're gonna see the alternate notation. Remember, remove the bracket, move the colon to the right hand side, omit the braces. You see this a really lot. Keep in mind when you see this, it's actually a hash that's using the alternate notation. The brace is omitted because it's the last argument to the method call. It will work just as fine. Alright. Now, I would like to comment about the fetch method versus this bracket notation here, because so far we've used the bracket notation to try to get a key, try to get a value from a certain key in a hash. There's also fetch that you're gonna see. So the way it works is like this. Instead of using brackets, you're gonna just call a method that's called fetch and pass the argument in parentheses, which is the key Monday. It runs just the same. Okay, and that's the same. Very similar. That will just get you the value for which the key Monday points to. The only difference is when you try to access some key that does not exist. There's no such key value pair. So say I pass this hash, right? But this hash only has one key value pair, a key Monday that maps to this value. But what if I have this as Tuesday? Let's go back to the brackets notation. So remember what happened when we tried to access a key for which there was no key value pair? We got nil, right? So that's what we should expect here. Let's run it. Indeed, we got nil there. You just can't see because it wasn't a put as statement. Let's p it here. So right before the hello, I'm gonna p hash Tuesday. See, I got nil. Now, that's okay, right? We know if we try to reference something, key value that does not exist, it returns nil. But okay, let's change that to the fetch method. Hash.fetch Tuesday. What happens? You ready? Let's move this up. Oops. Okay. Hello, James, and then boom. We got an error. Key error. Line 4, which is where we had the fetch. In fetch, key not found Tuesday. So, see the difference? So the fetch method will throw an exception, meaning it will give you an error if it does not find a key. It says explicitly, key not found. It won't even execute whatever you told the put as or whatever you try to do. So it just stops the program right there. Gives you a key error exception. So that's the difference between using bracket notation versus fetch when trying to access a hashes value giving a certain key that does not exist. Fetch throws an error. Bracket notation just returns nil. So if you want to do brackets, it will still do whatever, but it will just return nil whatever you had to try to access the key. But fetch will give you an error and stop whatever you were doing. Prevent. Okay, the way to work around the fetch is that you have to catch the exception. You gotta rescue it in Ruby, and then do something about it in case you get an error. In case you get the key error, you have to handle the error. But that's beyond the scope of this video. Just wanted to show you the difference. Okay. Now, just one more thing. We can also create a hash using the new. For example, hash is like this. That's what we know. We can also do like this. Same thing. We still give an empty hash. But the thing with this is that you can put a default value here. In case you try to access something that does not exist, it will return that value. For example. So what I'm saying is, this is the default value for if I try to access some key that does not exist. So I have a hash, it's empty, right? But if I try to access something like that does not exist, right now there's nothing, but if I try to access this, I get some return value. It does not exist because it's set here. But still there's nothing there. So this is the default value. So remember, by default it's nil. If I had just Hash.new and try to do that, I would get just nil. See? So if you want to change this, whenever you try to access something that does not exist, using the bracket notation, you can use the new, some kind of constructor thing. Okay, and lastly, I would like to touch upon how to iterate over the key value pairs. Pretty straightforward. You can do, for example, let's grab that hash we had before, if I can find it, or you can just do it again. Anyway, let's do it again. Hash to do this using alternate notation. Tuesday, wash the car. Friday, do the laundry. Say we just have these guys. Got a hash there. Now if I want to go through each key value pair, I can use .each iterator from the numeral module, and I can give a block with the block parameters the key and then the value, and I can just p the key of the value. I'm gonna put s and interpolate the key colon value. Okay, so what I'm doing, so they each takes a block parameter. Sorry, takes a block, and the block has block parameters here. The key, the first one is the key, the second is the value, and this is my body of the block. I'm just putting s, and I'm interpolating whatever is in the variable key. It's going to appear here, followed by a colon, followed by a space, followed by whatever is in the variable value, which is this guy. So for each iteration, it's going to grab this as the key, this is the value, and display it with the colon in between. So the second one will be this and that, and then so on. Let's see. There it is, right here. Monday, clean the dishes. Tuesday, wash the car. Friday, do the laundry, and so on. I could as well remove this colon, do whatever, put some space. You see it's the same. It's just a string interpolation there. Okay, now you can also iterate over only the key or only the value. Just do like this. Each key, and the block parameters is the key. Put as key. See what we get. Monday, Tuesday, Friday. Those are the keys. I can also do the value. Instead of saying each key, I say each value. And then this is going to be the value as the block parameter, and put as the value. And there it is. Clean the dishes, wash the car, do the laundry. Okay, so that's about it for this video. I hope you learned something new about hashes, Ruby hashes, a really important data structure. And thank you so much for watching. And if you have any comments, please leave below. If you like my videos, please subscribe. I would appreciate it very much. Thank you very much. Have a good one. Bye.